Hi, today the video is going to be on how to make this inner circle. It's a popcorn stitch for a granny square. This yarn is all stylecraft special DK, both the inner popcorn and the outer granny square. It's a 6-inch square and it is a 4mm crochet hook. These are the inner popcorns. There are 2 rows and each row is a multiple of 8. So we start with the inner circle, which is single crochet, then a row of popcorns, 8, and then it's increased to 16 popcorns. There are different ways of making popcorns from the other videos I've watched, and the technique I use, I just call the reverse popcorn because we work into the back of the stitch, and I'll show you how we do that. You can do a magic circle to start, but I am going to be using the slip knot and then the chain and then joining it into a circle. So I'm going to zoom in now. Okay, maybe a little bit out. So here goes. Make a slip knot. I keep it open. And then I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I take this little tail out. Then I put my hook back into the first loop. I pull it through. And this is where it gets fiddly. I close it, leaving a very, very small space. And into that, I will be making 7 single crochets. First loop. Carrying the tail as I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you count the loops, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We will be needing 8 loops, and that will be achieved by going into this one here. Now what I do is I generally use a smaller hook so that I don't have to spend time fiddling trying to get into that loop there. It's a slip knot. I'm assuming that you know the basics of crochet. This is not a beginner's guide. This is more of an intermediary guide on how to make the popcorn stitch. I chain up 2. It does not count as a stitch. Let's recheck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then here at the base of this one is 8 V's. Into the first V, which at the base of the chain, I will be making 5 double crochets, US terms. It's 2, 4, 5. This first stitch is a little bit different from the others because we need to count 5 back. Because there's a chain there, it's not going to be obvious as it will be with the other ones. You'll see. So I call it the reverse popcorn because normally with a popcorn you pull it out, you go in here, and then you catch that. I turn it around, count 5 backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is actually the top of the chain. First one is fiddly, but afterwards it's fine. I go into the 2 top parts, what I call the V, top parts of the stitch. I pull it through, and I pull through again. Then I chain 2. I turn backwards, and that is my first popcorn. I have 7 more V's or single crochets to work into. I prefer to call them V's because it can be confusing if one actually calls it a single crochet because of the slip stitch here, which created basically a new stitch. So I prefer to go by how many V's there are. It's tucked away underneath there, so we need to go fetch it. And I'll make 5 double crochets into that. 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn the work, and now it's going to be easy because there is a hole created by the chain and the first double crochet, and that will act as a guide. If you pull the chain a bit, you'll immediately see where the first stitch is, the top of this double crochet, and that's where you're going in. Fetch a loop, pull through both loops, chain 2, turn your work. Your second popcorn is completed. You will work around the circle, putting 5 double crochets into each V, two, 4, 5, turn, 1 loop, pull through both, chain 2, turn around, and repeat the process. So I'll meet you at the end. 1, we're working in real time. 2, 3, 4, 5, chain up 2, go back to the front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn the work. Whoops, I'm not going into the chain space, going into the top V. I suggest you find what suits you. If you want to go into the chain space, if you like the look more, then please do so. Fiddle around, experiment. What you can also do is when you turn, you can directly slip stitch. I work into that for the next row, so I don't slip stitch. I want to have it a little bit loose because the next row the popcorn actually goes into that space here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 2 more. 7th one is easy enough. Space to work. Chain 2. Now the 8th one is tucked away. The chain stitch, or the chain 2, it's not actually a stitch, the chain up is right there. At the base of it, there's a little tiny V. We're going to be working 5 double crochets into that. 1, 2, 3, 4. What I do is, when I go, you'll see when I go in here, the last one, I pull, give it a little bit of a tug so that last stitch there's it. It's nice and snug into that corner. See, it's nicely tucked away. 5, I turn, I complete the popcorn, I chain 2, and now we are actually going to be finishing this row by joining it up. Because I'm adding another row, I will be going directly into the back of the first popcorn. There is a space there. Now be careful, there is this flying thread. I want to go into the large space, and it is a slip knot that I'm making, or a slip knot. It's not a slip knot, slip stitch. I pull it tight so it creates a type of knot, and that is the base for the next chain 2 up. It does not count as a double crochet. It's just to chain 2 up to get to the top where I need to make my double crochets. The double crochets will be worked into the space. 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When it's your first popcorn, then, hang on, where's my yarn? When it's the first popcorn, there is some counting to do, and it can feel a bit awkward. But I've made quite a lot now, and it becomes second nature. Pull through, then chain 2. So now you have completed the first popcorn of the second row. Turn back your work. Your next popcorn is going to be worked into the space created by the chain 2. See this chain 2? The previous row has created a space. You're going to work 5 double crochets in there. 1, 2. Make sure that you get nicely into the space, that you don't slip into this tiny little hole there. 3, 4. The 5th one, you can tuck it away a little bit. Make that last little stitch nice and neat in the corner. 5. Turn your work. Once again, you have a chain space, it will guide you. Go into the top V, pull through, There we go. Second one is complete. Your next popcorn is going to go into the top of the second stitch, the second popcorn or the first row. You go double crochet. You're going to go into the hole created for the previous popcorn. Double crochet. Once again, be careful you don't go into that little side corner there. You want to go into the big space. Two, three, 4, tuck the last one nicely away in the corner. 5, turn your work, pull through again. Now chain 2, turn your work, open up where you got your chain 2 from the previous row, and this is the way you'll work all the way around. 4, the 5th one tucked into the little corner, give it a little tug, turn, and next one, working into the top part of the popcorn from the previous row. As I said, there are different ways of doing the popcorn. Some videos, they increase only into the chain space. I'll put 2 popcorns in there. They do not increase into the top of a popcorn. It's really a question of what you prefer, how you like to do it. 5, turn, tuck away the 5th one. This video is in real time. If you have speeded ahead and you come to the end, then you can just wait for me to catch up with you. If you haven't gone that far, when I get to the end of the row, you can push pause, and when you get there, we will sew in the ends together. In case you're wondering about my crochet hook, I purchased some sponges, foams for pencils. With the help of a little bit of dish liquid, I managed to get them on, and it has been completely changed the way that my hand feels after a day of crocheting. So I'm very happy with this update. It's just simple, rather inexpensive hook, but it was too hard on my hands. Whoops. fifth one. I like to make a pile of rings first, and then I sew in all the ends once I have a nice pile, and then I go on to the next step, which is the first row of color. Sew those ends in. Sometimes I sew the ends in right at the end when I've finished the whole square. But if I'm making a lot, then I tend to do it more like a factory. First complete the first process and then go on to the next one. Okay, we're coming into the last ones. Okay. 2, 4, 5. And chain 2. Let's just check. I know there's one more on this side there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. This is a 16. In that chain space, 1, 2. There's a little bit of a pull to open up that space. 4, 5. Turn. 1, 2. Now the way that I do it is I will now cut the yarn and I will sew it in there. You also have the option of just simply slip stitching into there. And go one more time. Cut the yarn. Give it a nice long enough tail to work away. Pull it tight, make sure that knot is nice and secure. And now we're going to work away the tails. This is a fairly long process, but it'll make such a huge difference to the longevity of your project. It's a shame, but a lot of things come loose in the wash if they're not sewed away properly. So let's look at the makeup of the yarn. It has a number of plies. This one has 3, depending on the yarn that you have. It's a double knit, DK. If it was a baby wear, then I separate the plies out and I sew each one away separately. with a very small tapestry needle. This is not a baby wear, this is going to be sewn together in a blanket. But what I do is sharp pointed tapestry needle. Looks like a darning needle, but it's got a sharp point, and it makes all the difference. So I thread it, and then what I do is, as I work, I'll keep doing this, is to open up those fibers, open up those plies, because I'm going to work it up and down and up and down and up and down until there's almost nothing left. And it wants to curl up. It wants to twist up again. Look, if I let it go, it just twists up again. And I really want to open up those fibers. So coming from the right side, the first thing is to really secure that notch in place. Now this particular work that I'm working on, because of course there's different ones, this one's going to have more rows on, so it will affect how I'm working on the top here. If it was the last row and they were V's, I'd be very careful not to make a mess, because then if you want to sew them together, you need to have very clean V's. In this case, there are going to be a whole lot of stitches coming onto this. Okay. You can pull, you can see if it gives. Happy with that? I'll go one more time in there. Give it a tug. That is not moving at all. I'm very happy with that. Now I can work away the tail end. I call these worms. Worms are created when there is a number of stitches placed into one place. And that's my goal, is the worms. So I've opened it up. It's a bit annoying, but once you start getting used to it, it just goes with the territory of working away your yarns properly. Follow the makeup of the stitch and go down. You want to be able to pull it enough to make sure this last loop is pulled away, but not so much that it distorts the work and pulls it in. Now I go into the worm and I work away. There's something called the rule of 3 directions, which means that you work in 3 different directions. Some more worms down here. So that's one direction. I'm going to go down the stitch to the next worm. Tuck that one away. You could have worked that one away first. And I'm going to go this direction. And then you can go up. It might seem like overkill. It's not. I can assure you it's not. You want this, if you're going to be putting a lot of effort into an article, which I'm assuming that everything we make is made with love and takes up part of our time, we want that thing to last a very long time. We want it to be able to, the person who's going to receive it, or even if it's our own, to wash it, to use it, and not have the thing come loose. You see, I just keep on going, and I keep on going, and I keep on going. I keep twisting this little thing around and around as I work, just opening up that thread. This will be the last one. You have no idea how well it's worked into there. So now we have this one here from the center. It's not a magic circle. This will not be able to close. It's going to stay as it is. open it up a bit and go up. Now I've been working a lot on this side. I'm going to go right up to the other side. So I'm just basically going to go around the worm. Fold it over. You can buy a pack of 6 of these for less than $2 or £2 on eBay. You can either get one size in a whole pack, or you can get a pack with multi-sizes. I have both tapestry and darning needle because they have different functions. Here we go. I want to go up. Keep on untwisting the yarn as I go. Give it a twist. So yeah, I like to do a whole lot of them together. I need to look down when I'm doing this, so I don't follow a TV show or anything like that. I'll listen to something on YouTube, lecture or entertainment, whatever it might be, flavor of the day. There's just no way that's going to come out. So I'm very, very pleased with that. I have sharp little scissors, and you can leave a little tiny bit. You can try pull it, but there's nothing that's coming out. If you pull and it does come out, it means you haven't worked it away enough. If you pull it, nothing should be coming out. I like it when it's completely invisible. You don't know where it is. There we go. Thank you very much for watching this video. There will be at some point another one on how to do the granny square. Bye then.